This is a new production of Robin Hood. It's being rehearsed in a backstreet community hall in the London borough of Southwark, although there are one or two more details apparently which still need to be sorted out. What makes this play particularly unusual is not so much its enthusiasm, although there's obviously plenty of that, but the fact that it's been written, directed, produced and stage managed by a schoolboy of 12. He's called Rikki, he doesn't go to school anymore, and none of his actors goes to school either. They're all children from Bermondsey, and they've all been problems in the classes of the state school system. They've found something much more attractive just round the corner. For the last 2 years, in a flat over a sub-post office in Bermondsey, they've been attending their own so-called free school. Here, they can come and go when they like, and do almost anything they like. The Bermondsey Lampost School, as it's called, is run by Lois Acton, a former head of geography in a local comprehensive school. She was so worried about the way many children were missing their chances at school, particularly those from broken homes, that she decided to resign and help them herself outside the system altogether. She and 4 unpaid volunteers are now visited by 60 children, all between the ages of 3 and 15. Previously, they'd either been notorious truants or troublemakers, or had simply hated the very idea of school. Now, many of them are able to read and write for the first time, and most want to stay here until 7 o'clock or even later every night.
At the Young Vic. And on Saturday evening, some of the older ones, Sue says there's a very good play on. And if any mums want to go as well, down near Brixton.
Bermondsey, in many places, is a wasteland of whole streets waiting for office redevelopment. For more than a year, Lois Acton has been trying to rent some larger building around here in which to expand. But every landlord she's approached has turned her down. She's had new children on her doorstep almost every week and has only been able to support herself from what she saved when a full-time teacher. Now, she's just been temporarily reprieved by a local charity called the Charterhouse Trust. For the time being, the Bermondsey Lampost School has a room of its own.
What happens if say we do the battery first and you find out exactly how the battery works?
Stuart wandered into school at about 11 o'clock this morning. He's one of a family of 9 and he's been coming here on and off for more than a year, ever since he ran away from a comprehensive school. His one passion is cars and how they work.
Things like the pistons, you understand how they work, don't you?
Yeah, I've done them.
Yeah. You got them, I mean you've done all the pistons, Stu. Can you just, you've got all the pistons, and how do they work?
Didn't know how to do things, put cars together. Didn't know how the gearbox worked, anything until I came here.
Why is it you think that you're able to learn more about that here than at another school?
The teacher got more time for you here, ain't they? A lot of time. I ain't blaming the teachers, there's not enough teachers. Used to be a teacher at my school, his name was Bob. Used to be my tutor master, and he had about 5 classes in one day he had to take. In some of these years, I felt sorry for him.
You wouldn't write a story?
I'll write a children's story.
Rikki, the playwright, is 12. He has to look after a younger brother and sister at home, and he's also been coming here for 2 years.
It's different. We learn a lot more here because the teacher's got a lot more time for us and they're more interested in what we want to do.
Or maybe we could tell them what story can it be, what about?
Kim is 15 and one of the latest recruits. She says she never got on with her teachers and was always running away. Now she travels 20 miles a day to come here.
At school you just write it, give it in, mark it and you get it back. Here she tells you what you've done wrong and why you've done it wrong, and she gives you more ideas. At school they just like write on the boards, write about so and so, you know, so Lois tells us what to write about and where to go, you know, to find out all these things so that I can write them.
What do your parents think of you coming here to this school?
They think it's much better because, you know, I didn't used to go to my other school, hardly. I only ever went now and again when I had to, you know. So here I come all the time because I know that I like it and I work hard, you know.
Well, you just used to run away from the other school?
I just used to play truant, yeah.
The children obviously enjoy it, but do they actually learn anything?
Oh, yes. I mean, at every moment of the day, there's somebody asking a question about something, and I've learnt a lot too, because there are a lot of things that I didn't know about. I mean, I never knew about a car engine for a start, and because Stu wanted to learn about it, we've contacted experts, garage mechanics and people like that, and I've learnt a lot and he's learnt a lot. Things like reading, I mean, I've had to expand the amount of, you know, finding out about methods of reading that I knew about, and we've had advice from people who are very good at done reading schemes and things like this, and the kids have learnt, a lot of them have learnt to read who couldn't read formally.
But wouldn't they progress even faster in a more formal way?
I don't think it's not the formality of the situation. I mean, sometimes there are formal situations here. It's more, I think, that they feel, we try to start somewhere where they're something they can do, and all of them can do something, and all of them have proved that they can really do something very well, and from there they've gone on to tackle the things that they couldn't do very well, and that's partly why they enjoy it, I think, because they are achieving something. And if you're not achieving anything and people keep telling you you're not very good at doing something, then in the end you think, well, you're not very good at doing it. I mean, that happened to me too. And sometimes they'll work on something for 4 or 5 hours, and we don't interrupt them and say, you know, it's 4 o'clock, it's time to go home, just stop what you're doing. If it's at all possible, we let them come to the end of what they're doing in their own time.
Are there any rules at all? I noticed that some of the children were smoking.
There aren't any rules as such. We try, the only one that does exist is a rule about no fighting, partly because of breakages and damage. But I mean, I hope that if we had a building, we'd have a room where, you know, they could let off steam. About smoking, the kids who smoke here usually only smoke just for show. Most of them the ones we had originally, most of them have given up smoking. Or we've all been actually, we've had a doctor here who's told them all about lungs and things like that, and they've seen exactly what a lung looks like. And some of the younger ones sort of stopped immediately having seen that.
Lunchtime is as informal as everything else here. The children cook the food themselves: sausages, fish and chips, bread and margarine, anything that's been scrounged, donated by parents, or is simply cheap. But although the school's run on a shoestring, the staff have been able to raise enough money privately to arrange trips in the holidays. Stuart and Rikki, for instance, were even taken to Paris for a few days. Obviously quite an adventure in itself for everyone. Apart from this, there are regular visits to local factories, museums, and even the theatre.
With theatres in particular, we go specifically to the Young Vic. It's our nearest theatre, or to the Globe, which is open only in the summer. And there, they both have given us tremendous support in terms of letting the kids go to a lot of the shows there. And they really do enjoy the theatre. They love it. We've been to the ballet as well. We went to see a company that came from America, and I think it's one of the most exciting things that the kids came back and talked about it for ages, because they'd never thought that they'd even enjoy going to the ballet at all.
Obviously, the existence of such a school and the very clear demand on the part of children and parents for this kind of place does show there's something wrong somewhere. Now, clearly it could possibly be some failure in a neighbouring school. But quite equally, it could be very drastic and disturbing home conditions, which are perhaps anti-school and anti-authority, and of course it can be serious psychological disturbance in the child. All I would have reservations about is, well, what I mean very simply is, I can't see how schools of this kind, so accommodated and so staffed, can possibly offer what just a reasonably large secondary school can offer in the way of a full diversified curriculum, physical education opportunities, science laboratories, etc., etc.
So what are you going to do about these free schools? You say you approve of their motives, you can't give them money because of legal restrictions, and you have reservations about the younger children.
Right, what can we do? First of all, we are at this moment, I may say, consulting our solicitor about the precise legal position and what sort of help we can offer under the Education Acts. Secondly, and this depends very much upon the people who are running these schools, if they could collaborate with us willingly, perhaps work in close association with our schools, with our Education Welfare Service and the Borough-based social services. This is for continuing casework with the families, and often the families are in some way in need of help. Then I think, subject to what our solicitor may say, I think there would be quite direct ways of helping then, because these still are then ILEA school children.
Your Majesty, Your Honour, we have come from a very far away land called Bermondsey to show our magic.
The Bermondsey Lampost is the latest of several free schools which have grown up recently in London. One in Islington is already officially recognised and supported. The education authorities say they'll consider what they can do for Lois Acton before the end of this term. Whatever they decide, life, according to a number of children in Bermondsey, is already all the better for what she's done and what she's let them do themselves.
And now, for our amazing highlight, I'll make this a whole live arrow.